Good morning. I don't know how well you can see me, but it is early, it's my normal time, but man, it's overcast and dark. It's only one more week until we have the fallback time change. So starting next week, I should have better daylight for doing these. I thought that it would get lighter, but no, it's just cloudy. And why am I wearing my winter coat, you might ask? Well, that's because the weather in East Tennessee completely skipped October and went directly to November. For the last 2 mornings, there's been a thick layer of frost on things. And now this morning, there's a chilly, ice-cold wind and bitingly cold raindrops. And so I decided, well, it's time to bust out the winter coat with the furry hood. So, God, I don't even know if you can see me well. Is this thing even picking me up? Let's see. Yeah, I think it is. Whew. So, we are going to have a chat about why I think things are not totally lost and why I don't think you should be black-pilled. I regularly talk to people in my community where I live who are doing proactive things against the, let's just call it the pause, right? All the anti-white stuff we talk about in the white well-being community, all of the political and legal cancer of ineptitude and previously mentioned anti-white people in positions of local power, those are being noticed and replaced on a local level quite a bit. I talk to people online who are aware and doing things in their local communities in the Midwest, in the Great Lakes region. I have personal friends and friends through my cousin and some other family members who live throughout Tennessee and Virginia, and they tell me the same. Sheriffs, local politician type people, whether they be a mayoral executive, adjuncts to a small city, whether a mayor or alderman, being replaced by, for lack of a better term, more based, younger, more aware people. Now, I just spent the last 3 days going to an OGC event, but it was not the national conference. It was a smaller conference put on by 6 or 7 chapters of the Old Glory Club. And I got to meet 60 or 70 young white American men who I hadn't really met or knew anything about before. These are young men who are part of the Old Glory Club chapters in Pennsylvania, Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, that region. It's basically the Virginia and adjacent regions. And these young men, many of them already husbands and fathers, that's excellent. They came with tales of how they had spent effort getting to know people in their local area, pushing out cancer from churches, getting rid of corrupt, crony, lazy sheriffs, replacing them with based guys who are more in line with America First pro-white stuff. And, most importantly, many of these OGC guys are branching out and making friends with other pro-American, pro-white groups who are doing the same thing. I was told that in Northern Virginia there's another couple of small groups who are doing a similar kind of thing with homeschooling, pushing the anti-Christian, anti-white energy. Oop. There's almost never a car on my little road this time of day. It's one of the reasons I didn't range far. I didn't want to be interrupted. Well, that shows me, I guess. Groups that aren't the OGC, small groups in Northern Virginia, actively trying to make things better. They had victories to share, getting teachers replaced, getting certain pieces of curriculum removed that were explicitly lies about American history or anti-white. Good news to hear. So, the reason why I bring all this up is many of you who find your way to me have long been listeners to content creators larger than myself. People, not super huge like Academic Agent, Dr. Edward Dutton, Semiagog, perhaps. You might have listened to larger content creators like Devin Stack, Black-Pilled, etc., etc. Well, I think that, not to point fingers at any of them, but a little bit Devin Stack, because he's very black-pilled, hence the name. But I think that many content creators, especially ones in the UK, who do not have the local success and the legal capability to organize and have success at taking back pieces of their countries, I think that they are inherently more black-pilled than we are because they don't see a way out. And it's very sad because I don't see much of a way out for them either. But it's very important that you not give up, even if you're in the UK. Because you can still take action. You can talk. You can organize. You can prepare for the worst. You can do something to save your people and your country. And if you think the place you live is a sinking ship, let's say it's 95% Muslim or something already, you shouldn't move. Even if you have to give up big chunks of England or Wales, you can still hold your island if enough of you organize and prepare for the upcoming storm, the long winter. That's what our people are best at. So, even if you're not an American, because what I'm saying right now only applies to the whites in America, but even if you're not American, you need to talk to people on the ground level. Talk to young men younger than 35. See how they're organizing, what they're doing, what successes they are having, and help those organizations. It's one of the reasons why I like the white well-being community and their Go Free clubs. They reach out into local communities all across America, finding out how they can stop the anti-white mind cancer in local commercials, churches, schools, etc. This is something that we all need to push back against in whatever way that we can. You don't have to be an active online activist. You don't have to be someone who holds signs and protests. That's not what I'm saying to do. What I'm saying to do is use your time and energy intelligently. Organize, write letters and make phone calls to local people and complain. Adult complaints about things. Be forceful. That doesn't work. Your local aldermen, your local preachers, your local sheriffs, they have homes. They have places of business. You can go there. You can knock on their door and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this problem that you seemingly have ignored. It really bothers me. That's not violent. That's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you do is you plant that seed in that person's head. Oh shit, my local community, they are so upset about this that one of them came to my house and expressed his or her concern about this issue. I better do something. And if that doesn't make that person do something, well, then you replace him or her. You get rid of those people. You have to be willing to take the reins. It's not easy what we face, but we have thousands upon thousands of people now who are sick of this shit, and we want to make things better, and you need to find and network with the people who are willing to get out and beat feet, knock on doors, organize, do things. And again, look man, when it comes to like all of the standard tropes of becoming red-pilled, like knowing all the JQ stuff, knowing all the lies about World War II, none of that shit really matters, man. It just doesn't. Like, it's cool to know all that stuff, but don't think for a second that you'll be able to use any of that JQ revisionist history about World War I and II stuff to do anything in person. It just doesn't work, and it's not worth your time. I mean, yeah, it's cool that we know that stuff. We know we've been lied to, but nothing we can do is going to just defeat Israel. Like, that's a long-term generational goal, to be free of, you know, whatever you want to call it, Zog, or, you know, international Zionism and central banking and all that usury shit. That's not something that you and I can easily fight in our day-to-day lives. That is like the end boss of what we're all up against. But what you can do is make where you live better. And I have done a small amount of that around here where I live, but it's already so good. There's not a lot to work on locally here. That's one of the reasons I spend my time networking and reaching out and helping people do stuff outside of this area. Because there's really not a lot I need to fight and fix in this area. The sheriff's really based. I've already helped fix stuff around here with school and church. And that rotten shitbag that took over my mother's church, well, that church is practically disintegrated now. They're down to like a third of the people that they had before. And the other churches I've visited seem based. So it's not that I think you should just be hopelessly, you know, oh yay, we're going to win, everything's fine. No, things are not fine. Things are going to be very hard. The mass migration will continue. The international usury will continue. Stripping countries of industrial capability to ship things off to China and India and Africa and shit. That will continue. Those are long-term goals that regular folks like me and you can't do much about. But what can we do about that stuff, though? Well, we have a couple of guys that I've met in the OGC who are taking it upon themselves to collect tools and machines to make tools. They're collecting all of the software, schemata for making quality tools of all different kinds. And so for just a few $1,000s, he can print out and make almost any kind of expensive precision machine tool. That's very important for taking back a community's ability to make their own high quality finished goods of many different kinds. We have 2 guys doing that already. And I've already told you about the OGC bro that I know in Tennessee who's working on, I think it's, I don't know the exact kind of thing he does, but it's metal printing and metal shop stuff. He's got like $20,000 or $30,000 worth of his own equipment now. And he does metal working, some kind of specific metal working thing that is required for doing pretty much anything complex and industrial on a small scale. So the more of us that start taking that kind of thing into our own hands, the better chance that all of our local ethnic communities will have a good shot at having a functional future as the US dollar dwindles, as international trade goes kaput, as things get worse and international trade becomes a farce and the goods that we have access to massively diminishes. The more that we have dudes on our side in our communities who know how to make things, build things, repair things, and most importantly, have the thousands of dollars spent to have the tools they need to build electronics, to build and repair complex machinery. That's very important for the survival and well-being of our people, because we'll have to farm. We will have to make things of our own. We will have to repair machines, build our own machines, or drones even. And the more of us that we have networked, who are aware of the game that we're in, who know what time it is, so to speak, the more of us that we have put together doing that, the better. And I met dozens of guys this week who were connected to dudes who were doing that. They weren't all in the OGC. Some of them were just friends. Some of them work for multi-million-dollar printing companies who have access to all this machinery and technology, and are taking notes. They're learning about how this machinery works, how they can repair it, or if need be, how they can sabotage it. That kind of mentality. Learning about how you can use your professional skills to create long-lasting infrastructural boons to your local people. We have dozens of guys working on that. Some of them are just friends of the OGC. They're not even in an official chapter. They just like what's going on. They're local business guys that have been approached by clean-cut, good-looking, smooth-talking, intelligent white Americans and get them on board with a healthier American project. So I know that if I can find and meet these people, they can't be the only ones doing this stuff. They can't be. There has to be other groups doing similar things across America. So this is one of the reasons why I think it's important to not give up and to not be black-pilled. If you sit on the phone or on the internet with your computer and you just listen to like the Duran and Academic Agent and, you know, Morgoth's Reviews and Semiagog and Devin Stack black-pilled and Millennial Woes, like, I like all these guys. I like them all. They make great content. They're smart. But if all you do is listen to conjecture about how fucked everything is, they're not offering you constructive, methodical ways to make your life better on the reg. They're just talking about how fucked everything is because that's how they make money. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that any of those men that I mentioned need to stop what they're doing. I'm not saying that they're evil. They're not. It's just, if you only absorb, like I'm talking to you, my followers who listen to me because you like listening to things on your phone. It's very important to not become black-pilled just because you want to know what's going on in the world and how and why everything is so screwed up. Just remember to not be black-pilled, because there are thousands, if not millions of us already. Oh man, I want to put this back on. It's getting wet and cold. Ooh. There are hundreds, if not thousands, thousands, if not millions of us who know what time it is, and we're working very hard to fix things and make stuff better at the local level. And so if you want to become involved in that stuff, you need to branch out. You need to find who's who and who's doing what in your local area. You'll probably find someone in America, at least. When it comes to Europe and England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland, I don't know. I know that things are really dark right now for you guys, because you don't have the Lebensraum, so to speak, that we do over here. And you also have horribly corrupt hate speech, cancellation-driven governments that have much faster, better tools to harm you and silence you. I know that sucks. That's not an impediment that we face much here in the United States. I understand that. But you can't let that crush you. You can't let that make you give up. You have to stay in it. You have to be intelligent. Because remember, surviving the long winter and being intelligent is what really defines our race. We can win if we invest ourselves into surviving this long winter and planning accordingly. So even in places like Ireland and Wales and Scotland and England, I know things seem bad, but we can survive this long winter, and we can outlast these nasty barbarians from the desert and the steppe lands. We can outlast them. We can defeat them. All right, I think I've talked enough. My trip was great. I got to meet a lot of wonderful people. Man, it's cold. Ooh, this icy rain, my goodness. So this Thursday, assuming that Newsfist trip goes well, this Thursday is when we will be having a Gulag Cafe. It was not last week like I thought. It will be this week. So assuming everything goes well with his trip and he doesn't get sick or anything, Newsfist and I will be streaming again this Thursday in our usual time slot. So I heart you guys. I hope you have a great week. Remember to, I need to take my own advice, of course, to stay positive and talk to other people who are doing positive, constructive things. It's the best white pill in the world. Talking to people, especially young men, who are fathers and invested in their local communities to make churches and schools and businesses better for their local ethnic communities. That doesn't save the white race at large. It doesn't defeat Israel. It doesn't defeat Zog. I know. But it's better than doing nothing. It's better than just complaining on the internet and sending dollars to people who talk on the internet. Invest yourself into doing things that matter. Invest yourself in people who are doing things that matter to your local community. And if you can't find those people, move. Find people who are doing that and help them build and protect and invest in their local white community. I think that's the best thing that all of us can do. It's basically all that most of us can do. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Keep heart. God bless. And I'll see you Thursday night with Chris, assuming all goes well. God bless.